Let us continue with week 6, section 2. In section 1, week 6, we have talked about philosophy, we have talked about Indian philosophy. Now we will continue with history of Indian philosophy, different schools of Indian philosophy. We will talk about the Vedic period. Here we will talk about the Vedic literature which was in existence between BC 1500 and BC 500. The Vedic literature consists of the Samhitas, the Brahmanas, the Aryanakas and Upanishads. These are four main Samhitas or collection of hymns in praise of God. We have the Rig Veda Samhita, the Atharva Veda Samhita, Samaveda Samhita and Yajur Veda Samhita. When we are talking about history of Indian philosophy, we are beginning with the earliest period of Indian philosophy, which is the Vedic period. And this Vedic period, the literature between, when we talk about Vedic period, we are talking about BC, between BC 1500 and BC 500. They consist of the Samhitas, the Brahmanas and the Aryanakas and Upanishads. The four Samhitas are the Rig Veda Samhita, the Atharva Veda Samhita, Samaveda Samhita and Yajur Veda Samhita. The Rig Veda is a collection of 1028 hymns. The Atharva Veda is a collection of spells and charms. The Samaveda is a collection of songs, mostly from the Rig Veda, and the Yajur Veda consists of many sacrificial formulas and rituals. So, when we talk about Rig Veda is a collection of hymns, Atharva Veda is a collection of spells and charms, the Samaveda is a collection of songs, mostly from the Rig Veda, and the Yajur Veda consisting of many sacrificial formulas and rituals. What do you mean by Veda? The word Veda means knowledge. The Vedas developed over many centuries and was orally passed from generation to generation. Therefore, the Vedas are also known as Shruti or that which is heard. So, when we talk about Veda, what do you mean by Veda? Veda means knowledge, and how was the Veda passed on? The Veda was passed on from generation to generation, that is orally. And therefore, when we talk about Vedas, Vedas are also known as Shruti or that which is heard. It is heard from generation to generation because it was orally, by word of mouth, it was passed on from generation to generation, which is why it is called Shruti or that which is heard. Vedas are a rich source of values for all and especially for the teaching community. While the Vedas encourage you to respect elders, it also encourages critical thinking and analysis. Honesty is immensely valued. Students are to be consistently made aware of the need for the protection and preservation of nature. Citizenship and patriotism are key values which teachers can encourage in the students. So, why are the Vedas so significant? Vedas are very significant because they are a rich source of values. It encourages to respect elders. Honesty is immensely valued. It encourages critical thinking and analysis. Now let us move on to different schools of Indian philosophy. When we talk about different schools of Indian philosophy, we can divide Indian philosophy into two. These are orthodox or Astika and heterodox or Nastika. What do you mean by orthodox or Astika and heterodox or Nastika? In the beginning of section 1, we slightly touch upon what is Astika and Nastika. Astika means the belief in God, Nastika that you do not believe in God. So when we talk about classical Indian philosophy, they can be divided into two schools, orthodox or Astika and heterodox or Nastika schools. Let us now discuss what are orthodox schools or Astika schools. There are 6 orthodox schools of philosophy. These are Jnana, the school of logic which was started by Aksapada Gautama in the Jnana Sutra in 2nd century BC. Then we have the Vaisesika, the atomist school started in BC 2nd and 4th century by Uluka Kannada in the Vaisika Sutra. Then we have the Samkhya, the enumeration school founded by Kapila before BC 2nd century. Then we have Yoga, the school of Patanjali in the Yoga Sutra of the 2nd century BC. Then we have what is called the Purva Mimamsa, the interpretation of the Vedic text with emphasis on Vedic ritual. This began with the Sutras of Jamini in BC 2nd century. Then we have the Vedanta based on the Upanishads with emphasis on Vedic philosophy. The Vedantas form the end of the Vedas. The basic Vedanta text is Bandaranaya's Brahma Sutras or Vedanta Sutra, written in the beginning of the Christian era. So when we talk about orthodox schools, we are talking about 6 different orthodox schools. We have the Jnana, the Vaisesika, we have the Samkhya, we have Yoga, we have Purva Mimamsa, then we have the Vedanta. Now let us discuss these orthodox schools, these Astic schools in detail. The Jnana school of logic introduced a method based on scientific rules of reasoning by which certain knowledge could be arrived at regarding the object of inquiry. Therefore, the skill of logic and reasoning is developed and the values of verification, fairness, caution are encouraged. There are 5 steps inference by which we arrive at this knowledge. We have what is the proposition, that is proposition of a statement that has to be proved, reason B, the second step, the third step is example, the fourth step is application, then we have the fifth step which is conclusion. How do we apply these 5 steps? The following example will help you understand this better. Let me take an example. Proposition, first step, there is fire on the mountain. Step 2, reason, because there is smoke above it. Example, the third step, where there is smoke, there is fire as in the kitchen. Application, the fourth step, this is the case with the mountain. Conclusion, there is fire on it. So these are the 5 steps. More importantly, this inquiry could only be made under certain conditions. An inquiry was to be undertaken only when a doubt existed. There was the possibility of a certain outcome, there was a proper purpose for the inquiry, and it must contribute to the highest good. That was the Jnana school. Now what does the Vaisesika school talks about? Vaisesika school of individual characteristic deals with physics and the basic idea that nature is atomic. Nature is made up of atoms which are separate from the soul. Therefore, there is a dualism or the existence of 2 separate parts, matter and soul. Substances and qualities coexist. For instance, a rose cannot exist without the quality of color. Therefore, a red rose. What does the Samkhya school of philosophy talks about? According to Samkhya philosophy, our perception is limited to our 5 senses and learning has to take place experientially using these 5 senses. Learning should be open-ended, experiential, based on reason. Accordingly, teachers should incorporate hands-on learning, projects, debates, discussion, drama, exhibitions as much as possible. What does the yoga school of philosophy talks about? The word yoga comes from the Sanskrit word yuj, or to yoke, or to attach oneself to the task at hand with great discipline, and it unites the body and soul, individual and God. The school of yoga lays more stress on spiritual discipline or application. We are led astray by our senses, so yoga helps to attain control, calm, and gain inner perception. So in today's world also, yoga is a very important part of your life which can lead you to attain control. What I mean is, if you make yoga a part of your life, it will become an important part of your life which will help you to attain control, calm, and gain inner perception. What is the Mimamsa school of philosophy? What does the Mimamsa school of philosophy talks about? By the 8th century AD, the Mimamsa school had emerged with the Vedanta. Mimamsa philosophy or darshana was different from all the other schools, for it was a school of inquiry and not a school of salvation. Its original purpose was to explain the Vedas. Then what was the Vedanta school of philosophy? What do they talk about? What are the main philosophy behind the Vedantas? The Vedantas form the end of the Vedas and are the most important of the 6 darshanas. Many features of modern Hinduism and philosophy are taken from the Vedantas and its sub-schools. In the 8th century AD, Sankara's commentaries on Badaranaya's Brahma Sutras introduced the concept of Advaita, non-duality or monism, that is allowing no second. There is only one being, that is Brahma, who is the essence of one universe. Everything is Brahman, and therefore one self or Atma is also Brahman, Atman is Brahman. There are 2 kinds of truths, conventional and absolute. In week 6 section 1 we talked about the concept of moksha, dharma, we talked about the concept of Atma. So what is Atma? Atman is Brahman, one self or Atma is Brahman, everything is Brahman. Brahman is the essence of one universe, and there are 2 kinds of truth, which is unconventional and absolute. When we talked about the orthodox schools, we have talked about the 6 orthodox schools or astikas. Now we will talk about heterodox schools. These schools do not accept the authority of Vedas and God and are therefore described as Nastikas. We will first deal with the heterodox school, we will talk about Buddhism. Buddhism belongs to the heterodox school. They do not believe in the authority of the Vedas and God and are therefore described as Nastikas. What do we mean by Buddhism? What is Buddhist philosophy? Buddhist philosophy is a system of beliefs based on the teachings of Siddhartha Gautama, later known as the Buddha. Buddhism is a religion that stresses on religious tolerance. In Buddhist philosophy, the 3 features of the universe are known as the 3 marks of existence, yet there is no immortal soul. It talks about the 8-fold path to gain moksha or salvation. We have another school, the heterodox school, which is Jainism. After talking about Buddhism, which is part of what is called the Nastikas or heterodox school, we will talk about another heterodox school, which is Jainism. Jainism is one of the world's oldest religions. The 24th Tirthankara in BC 550 in Bihar in northern India was a contemporary of Gautama Buddha. The Jain philosophy is based on the idea that one has to conquer the negative aspects of human nature in order to realize the truth. the interaction between jiva, that is the living, and the ajiva, that is the non-living, such as chair, tables, is responsible for the evolution of the universe. When the soul is stripped of all its ajiva bondage, it becomes pure and attains salvation. So, what Jainism says, what is the philosophy behind Jainism? Jainism says that there is an interaction between the living, then and the non-living, the ajiva, that is table, chairs, and so on. When the soul is stripped of all its ajiva bondage, it becomes pure and it attains liberation, which is salvation, or you can say moksha. So, when we discuss Buddhism, when we discuss Jainism, you have to know that these two are part of what is called the heterodox schools. Heterodox schools do not accept the authority of Vedas and God, and they are also described as Nastikas. And the philosophy of Nastikas, that is the philosophy of Buddhism and Jainism, are that they believe in what is called, in Buddhism, they believe in what is called the three features of the universe, which are known as the three marks of existence, and there is no immortal soul. And Jainism talks about how when one is free of, when the soul is free of the ajiva bondage, the non-living, then this it will become, then one becomes pure and attains liberation. So in today's class, in section 2, week 6, we have discussed what are the various schools of Indian philosophy. We have talked about the different schools of Indian philosophy, and also we have talked about what is or what has been the history of Indian philosophy. When we talk about the history of Indian philosophy, we talked about the Vedic period, we talked about the various orthodox schools, and also we have talked about the heterodox school. And let me tell you, learners, when we talk about the history of Indian philosophy, we have stressed on the importance of Vedas, because here we have talked about how important the Vedas are, because the Vedas are a very rich source of values for all, especially for the teaching communities. And we have talked about how the Vedas encourages one to respect others, and also it encourages critical thinking and analysis, and also in Vedas it teaches you honesty, and also it teaches you citizenship and patriotism. So when we talk about philosophy, when we talk about Indian philosophy, we have talked about how philosophy is related to your religious beliefs. And also when we talk about Vedas, we have talked about how Vedas have passed on over many centuries. We have talked about how it has been orally passed from generation to generation, and that is why we have said that Vedas are also known as Shruti, or that which is heard. Because when one passes Vedas, when one passes Vedas, in another words, it means knowledge. When we pass Vedas, when we pass on knowledge from one generation to generation, it is passed on through word of mouth. So when you pass it orally from word of mouth, you hear it, you do not see it. So this is called Shruti, or it is also called one that is heard. When we talk about the history of Indian philosophy, we started with the Vedic period. We talked about how the Vedic literature consists of the Samhitas. We talked about how it consists of the Brahmanas, the Aryanakas, and the Upanishads. And also we talked about how these various schools, the orthodox schools and the heterodox schools, have different philosophies. One does not believe in the authority of Vedas or God, and the others believe in the authority of the Vedas and God. So with this class, we have completed week 6 section 2. We have talked about the different schools of Indian philosophy and history of Indian philosophy. Thank you so much.